Beaumont-sur-Loire, France. January 22, 1955, 1 week after the meeting. 1 week had passed since 4 people sat in a Parisian café and decided that love didn't need to be divided. It could be multiplied. Marie Dubois woke up that Sunday morning and, for the first time in months, didn't feel the knot in her throat, because now she knew something that had changed everything. She didn't need to choose between being Rebecca or Marie. She was both. And that wasn't a tragedy, it was a gift. This is the 6th and final story of The Last Train Home. The story of how a girl who lost her name learned that identity isn't about choosing who you are, but about accepting everything you've become. About how an entire community discovered that family isn't defined by blood, but by the love we choose to multiply. And it all began when Marie walked down the bakery stairs that morning. Pierre opened the bakery as he always did on Sundays, but that morning there was something different in his eyes. Claire stood beside him, and for the first time in 12 years the weight they carried seemed a little lighter. Marie came down the stairs, already dressed for Mass. She touched Pierre's shoulder as she passed, and he turned to her with that look, the same one he had when she was little and woke from nightmares. "Papa, is everything okay?" Pierre looked at her with glistening eyes. "You called me Papa, and I'll keep calling you that," Marie smiled softly. Nothing has changed that, but something had changed, and Beaumont-sur-Loire was about to find out. That morning after Mass, Father François watched Marie walk down the central aisle of the church. He had baptized her 12 years ago with trembling hands and a heavy heart, knowing he was erasing an identity to save a life. But that Sunday, she stopped before him. "Father François, I need to speak with you." The priest looked at her with eyes that already knew what was coming. "My child," "I know," Marie said calmly. "I know everything." The silence between them lasted only seconds, but felt like an eternity. Father François held Marie's hands firmly. "Are you angry?" "No," Marie replied, and her voice was steady. "I'm grateful. You saved me." The priest closed his eyes and a tear rolled down his wrinkled face. "Rebecca." "Marie," she corrected gently. "Rebecca, both. You didn't erase who I was, Father. You allowed me to keep existing." The news spread through town like wind across a wheat field. By noon, everyone in Beaumont-sur-Loire knew. Little Marie isn't Marie, she's Jewish. Her parents were killed. Pierre and Claire hid this for 12 years. Her uncle found her. He survived the concentration camps. In the central square, as families left Mass, eyes turned toward Marie. Pierre and Claire instinctively surrounded her, protective. Claire held Marie's hand tightly. Pierre and Claire feared rejection. They feared the town would turn its back on the family that had lied for so long. They feared Marie would be seen as different, as foreign. But then Madame Leclerc, the owner of the old Pension Moreau, crossed the square with firm steps. She stopped before Claire, and for a moment no one breathed, and then she embraced her. "You saved a child," Madame Leclerc said loudly, for everyone to hear. "You are heroes." It was as if a dam had broken. One by one, townspeople approached, not with judgment but with admiration, not with rejection but with respect. Monsieur Beaumont, the market owner, shook Pierre's hand firmly. "You did what was right when the world was wrong." The schoolteacher hugged Marie. "You're the same incredible girl, no matter the name." And Jean, Pierre and Claire's biological son, now 19, put his arm around Marie's shoulders. "You're my sister. Always have been, always will be." January 28, 1955. Beaumont-sur-Loire train station. Samuel arrived carrying a small suitcase and a cardboard box. Marie waited for him on the platform, beside Pierre and Claire. It was the first time Samuel visited Beaumont, the town where Rebecca had become Marie, where his niece had been saved and loved. Marie. "Rebecca," she corrected gently. "When we're together, you can call me Rebecca." Samuel's eyes filled with tears. It was the first time she'd asked to be called by that name. "I brought something for you," Samuel said, opening the cardboard box. Inside, carefully wrapped in blue fabric, was a violin. "It was your father's, Jacob. I recovered this violin in 1946. The owner of a luthier workshop in Paris kept it during the occupation. Jacob had left it there for maintenance. After the war, he handed it over to OSE and it reached me. Jacob played this every night for you and Rachel to fall asleep. Marie touched the instrument with reverence. The strings were old, the varnish worn by time and war. But when she held it, something inside her vibrated. Not exactly a memory, but an echo. A connection that existed beyond consciousness. I don't know how to play violin, Marie said, almost apologizing. Your mother played piano, Samuel replied, smiling through tears. Perhaps we can discover together. Perhaps music is in the blood, just waiting to be awakened. Pierre, watching the scene, felt a pang in his chest, not of jealousy, but of deep understanding. That violin was a part of Marie he could never give. And that wasn't a loss, it was an addition. That night, for the first time, Samuel had dinner in the house that had sheltered his niece for 12 years. The table was set simply. Fresh bread from the bakery, local cheese, vegetable soup. But the atmosphere was charged with something sacred. 3 adults who loved the same person, finally sitting together not as rivals but as family. Claire served the soup with slightly trembling hands. Monsieur Goldstein, Samuel, he interrupted gently. Please call me Samuel. Samuel, Claire repeated, and her voice broke. I need you to know. We loved her. From the first day, it wasn't just to hide her. It was real. Samuel looked at Claire with deep understanding. I know. I saw it in her eyes when she spoke of you at the café. She wasn't pretending love. She was living love. Pierre, who had remained silent, finally spoke. I spent 12 years afraid you'd come and take her away. Afraid you'd discover the truth and judge us for having transformed Rebecca into someone else. But you didn't transform her, Samuel replied. You saved her and let her be who she needed to be. Jacob and Miriam would have given their lives for that. And you gave your lives too. Not by dying, but by living with that secret, with that fear, with that love impossible to explain. Samuel extended his hand across the table. I didn't come to take your daughter, Pierre. I came to gain a niece and give her a bigger family. Marie watched everything in silence, seeing 3 people who should be strangers, or rivals, or enemies, becoming allies. Becoming family. Uncle Samuel, she said experimentally, testing how the words sounded together. Can I ask a question? Anything, my niece, Rachel. Do you still search for her? Samuel's face aged 10 years in a second. Every day, he admitted. Every list that comes out of the archives, every new information that emerges, I search for her name. 10 years after the war, I still search. And what if she's alive? Marie asked. What if she was also hidden like me? What if she also has another name, another life? Samuel smiled sadly. Then she would be blessed, just as you were blessed to find Pierre and Claire. March 1st, 1955, Beaumont-sur-Loire. Marie organized something no one expected, a concert. I want the whole town to know my story, she told Pierre and Claire, not through gossip or whispered secrets, but through me, through my voice. The town hall lent the small municipal theater. Father François announced it at Mass. Posters were put up around town. On the night of the concert, the theater was packed. Every seat occupied, people standing in the back. The entire town had come, some out of curiosity, others for support, all for love. Pierre and Claire sat in the front row beside Samuel. Jean was there, proud. Madame Leclerc, Monsieur Beaumont, Father François, everyone came to witness something they didn't know exactly what it was, but felt was important. Marie stepped onto the stage. In her hands, Jacob's violin, the instrument her father had played that had survived when he did not. She stopped before the microphone. The theater fell into absolute silence. Good evening. My name is Marie Dubois. A pause. And my name is Rebecca Goldstein. She let the words hang in the air. I spent 17 years thinking I was just one person. I discovered I'm 2, and that doesn't divide me. It completes me. She held the violin more firmly. This violin belonged to my biological father, Jacob Goldstein. He was murdered in Auschwitz in March 1943. My mother, Miriam Goldstein, too. My sister, Rachel. We still search for her. Murmurs crossed the theater. The word Auschwitz always carried weight. But I survived, Marie continued, and her voice was steady now. Because 2 strangers, Pierre and Claire Dubois, decided that saving a life was worth any risk. That love was stronger than fear. That a child deserved to live, no matter the price. She looked at Pierre and Claire in the front row. Both were crying silently. They gave me a new name, a new past, a new life. And for 12 years, they kept the secret that could destroy everything. Not out of shame, but out of love. And then a man, Samuel Goldstein, never gave up searching for me. 12 years. 12 years he followed leads, investigated records, visited towns, until he found me. Until he discovered that the niece he was looking for was alive but was someone else. Samuel wiped his tears, trying to maintain composure. And when he found me, he did something unbelievable. He waited. He waited until I was ready. Because he understood that sometimes love means letting go. It means putting someone's happiness above your own desire to have them back. Today I pray for all of you. For my biological parents who couldn't see me grow. For my parents who raised me, who loved me as a daughter when they had no obligation. For my uncle, who transformed pain into search. Marie walked to the piano in the corner of the stage. And for you, Beaumont-sur-Loire, who are here tonight proving that community isn't about sharing blood, it's about sharing love. And then she played. First, a simple lullaby, the one Claire sang when Marie was little and woke from nightmares. Her hands danced across the keys with the familiarity of years of practice. Then, a more complex piece, something she'd never played before, but her fingers seemed to know. As if Miriam somehow guided her hands through time, the piano echoed through the theater, filling every corner with sound and emotion. When the last piano note dissolved into silence, Marie stood up. She walked back to center stage and picked up Jacob's violin. "This instrument," she said, holding it with reverence, "I don't know how to play. I held it for the first time a week ago. But I want to finish with it because sometimes we don't need to be perfect to honor those we love." She positioned the violin awkwardly. Her hands trembled, and then she played a short melody, imperfect but deeply moving. It wasn't technique. It was pure love transformed into sound. Samuel covered his face with his hands. It was like hearing Jacob again. Not in skill, but in intention. In the way music came from a place deeper than fingers or strings. Pierre held Claire's hand so tight their fingers were white. They were hearing their daughter, but also hearing Rebecca, the girl they had saved, the story they had protected. Father François had his eyes closed, moving his lips in silent prayer. When the last note echoed through the theater, there was a profound silence. Not the silence of uncertainty, but the silence of the sacred. Of the moment when everyone realizes they've witnessed something rare, and then applause. Not just applause, a standing ovation that shook the old theater walls. People on their feet, tears flowing freely, not from pity but from admiration, from respect, from love. If you're enjoying this video, please click the like button so YouTube can share it with more people. And if you enjoy this type of video, please subscribe to our channel. Dubois house, early morning of March the 2nd. Marie couldn't sleep. She went down to the kitchen and found Samuel there, sitting at the table with his notebook. The same notebook where he'd recorded years of searching, years of memories, years of hope. "Can't sleep?" Samuel quickly closed the notebook. "I'm finishing something. The last page, can I read it?" Samuel hesitated, then pushed the notebook toward her. Marie opened to the last page and read aloud. March 15, 1943. The day Rebecca disappeared, April 11, 1945. The day I survived, October 22, 1952. The day I found her, January 15, 1955. Day she found me back, March 1, 1955. Day she played. And everything made sense. Marie closed the notebook, tears streaming. "What will you do with this?" "I'll keep it. For when you have children. For when they ask who their grandparents were. So Jacob and Miriam won't be forgotten. So Pierre and Claire will be remembered as heroes. And Rachel?" Samuel took a deep breath. "So Rachel, so she knows we never stopped searching. That somewhere someone always remembered her." Marie picked up a pen. "Can I write something?" "It's your notebook now," Samuel said gently. Marie turned to a blank page and began to write. Samuel watched in silence. When she finished, Marie read aloud. "Rachel, sister I never knew, if you're alive somewhere with another name, another life, I want you to know, you weren't forgotten. Uncle Samuel never stopped searching. I never will. And if you're not here anymore, if the worst happened, Then this letter is my promise. I'll live for both of us. I'll play music for you. I'll honor Jacob and Miriam for you. I'll remember that once there was a girl named Rebecca Goldstein who loved her little sister and tried to protect her until the end. You gave me the greatest gift, Rachel, without even knowing. You gave me time. Time to be hidden. Time to survive. Time to become Marie and still be Rebecca. Thank you, sister. Wherever you are, Rebecca Goldstein. Marie Dubois. The same person. Your sister. Samuel read Marie's letter and couldn't contain his tears. Jacob and Miriam would be so proud of you. And Rachel? Rachel is proud. I'm sure of it. Wherever she is. March 15th, 1955. 12 years exactly since the transformation. Marie was at the bakery helping Pierre as she always did. But that day was different. It was the anniversary of the night that changed everything. The night Rebecca died and Marie was born. Or perhaps the night Rebecca simply gained a second name. Claire entered with the wooden box, the box that had kept identity fragments for 12 years. Marie... Rebecca, there's one last thing. Claire opened the box and took out the Star of David, the one that had belonged to grandmother Leah, then to Miriam, and now waited for its true owner. This was your grandmother's. Samuel told me the complete story. Leah gave it to Miriam before the war, and Miriam was wearing it the night she was taken. She tore it from her neck at the last second and stuffed it in your coat pocket. That's how I found it with you. Marie took the star. It was cold but heavy as gold. Not from the metal, from the meaning. Can I wear this? Marie asked hesitantly. Rebecca, Pierre said, and it was one of the first times he called her by that name. You not only can, you must. It's who you are. But I'm also Catholic. I was baptized. Samuel, who had just entered through the bakery door as if he knew he should be there at that exact moment, spoke. You're both. And that's not confusion, it's wisdom. It's proof that identity isn't a prison. It's an expansion. Marie looked at the star, at the cross Claire wore around her neck, at the faces around her, and understood. I can honor Leah and also go to Mass. I can be Jewish by blood and Catholic by upbringing. I can carry the surname Goldstein in my heart and Dubois in documents. I don't need to choose because I am the result of all the people who loved me. She placed the star around her neck. It shone against the simple fabric of her dress. I want to do something, Marie announced. I want every hidden child, every child who survived losing their name, to know they're not alone. I want to tell our story, the story of how love multiplies instead of dividing. How? Pierre asked. I'll write everything. Jacob and Miriam's story. The story of how you saved me. The story of how Uncle Samuel never gave up. And I'll publish it so the world knows. Families are built by love, not just by blood. Samuel smiled. Your father, Jacob, used to say that music was his way of speaking to the world. Perhaps writing is yours. And when I write, Marie continued, I'll dedicate it to Rachel, so her name will also be remembered. So she won't be just the lost sister, but Rachel Goldstein, who existed, who loved, who mattered. That afternoon, the four walked together through the streets of Beaumont-sur-Loire. Marie in the middle, Pierre and Claire on one side, Samuel on the other. An impossible family. A family built on secrets and truths, on losses and findings, on past and present. Townspeople watched them and saw something extraordinary. Not a girl divided between two families, but a girl multiplied by love. Years later, Marie Dubois Goldstein, because she eventually united both names, would write a book. In it, one sentence summarized everything. I am Marie because I was loved as a daughter. I am Rebecca because I was searched for as a niece. I'm not divided. I'm multiplied. Two identities, one complete life, and no erased memory can change this. Love in the end is what defines us. Marie lived to be 78. She married, had 3 children. She taught them French and Hebrew. She took them to church on Sundays and to synagogue on high holidays. They grew up knowing that identity isn't a choice, it's acceptance. Pierre and Claire were recognized as righteous among the nations in 1963. A tree was planted in their names on the Avenue of the Righteous at Yad Vashem, Jerusalem. When Pierre died in 1971, his last words were, Marie. Ah, Marie, Saving her was the greatest privilege of my life. Samuel lived until 1982. He never found Rachel, but until his last day he searched. And when he died, he was buried beside Jacob. The two brothers finally reunited. And Rachel Goldstein, the older sister. In 1978, a middle-aged woman in Montreal saw Marie's book in a bookstore. The title made her stop. Two Identities, One Life, the story of a hidden child. She opened the book, saw the author's photo, and something stirred inside her. Not exactly a memory, but an echo. She bought the book. Read all night. And when she reached the dedication, "For Rachel, wherever you are," she cried, because she also had another name now. She also had been hidden. She also had survived, and she wrote a letter. "Marie, my sister, but that's another story for another time." This was the story of The Last Train Home, Season 2. The story of Rebecca Goldstein, who became Marie Dubois. The story of how love knows no boundaries of name, religion, or identity. Of how some lives are saved not by choosing, but by accepting. Of how family is built not by documents, but by choice. Of how memory, even when erased, leaves invisible marks that connect us to what we were and what we became. Between 1940 and 1945, 6 million Jews were murdered in the Holocaust. But some children survived, hidden, transformed, saved by strangers who became family. This story is for them. For those who saved, for those who searched, and for those who were never found but never forgotten. Two names, one life, one legacy. If you liked this video, subscribe to the channel and share our video to help us spread our stories.